JIN took a shocking step. JUNGKOOK decides to go to Paris for Calvin Klein. What's really happening? The sudden move made by BTS's Jin amid HYB's internal uncertainty has triggered sharp speculation in the industry, occurring just hours before JUNGKOOK was officially confirmed to depart for Paris to attend Calvin Klein's fashion show. The question now is this merely a coincidence or a quietly orchestrated strategy behind the scenes? A shocking statement came from an internal source stating that Jin held a closed-door meeting with one of HYB's top executives, reportedly ending in a strategic decision not anticipated by the public. Although the details of the discussion remain confidential, its impact became immediately apparent. JUNGKOOK, without a grand announcement, packed his schedule and left South Korea to attend the prestigious fashion event in Paris. This departure is not just a regular invitation, it's a global stage filled with symbolic and image-driven strategy, especially in the midst of unresolved internal issues. The fact that JUNGKOOK represents Calvin Klein, one of the world's most iconic fashion brands, cannot be ignored. However, the timing of his departure coinciding with Jin's move raises many questions. Is there hidden tension between the two? Or is this a silent coordination to divert public focus? Remember, Jin had just returned from his military service and has yet to speak openly about BTS's future. As the world awaited his return to the entertainment world, a surprising decision emerged from behind the stage. And this time, it's not just about music, but the future direction of the entire group. Fan responses are divided. Some welcome JUNGKOOK's departure positively, calling it a bold step in establishing his identity as a global icon, independent of his status as a BTS member. However, many suspect internal disagreements that led Jin to make a personal maneuver, as if setting a distance from the spotlight now centered on JUNGKOOK. Does this indicate a difference in vision between them? Or is Jin playing a larger role than what's visible on the surface? It's undeniable that the spotlight on JUNGKOOK has intensified since he became the face of Calvin Klein. Yet, just as this momentum reached its peak, Jin chose to shift his public communication. Some analysts interpret Jin's move as an internal repositioning, possibly as a shadow manager, strategic mentor, or even a discourse leader aiming to elevate BTS's artistic and spiritual side, long overshadowed by commercialism. Ironically, HYB's official statements regarding both remain normative. No confirmation was given regarding any link between Jin's actions and JUNGKOOK's departure. However, this silence fuels even more speculation. Why didn't Jin appear alongside JUNGKOOK in such a significant moment? Why did he choose to act independently now? Is this just a temporary pause, or a sign that BTS's internal direction is undergoing deeper changes than what meets the eye? From an industry perspective, this could mark the beginning of a massive repositioning within BTS. Jin, the oldest member, has long been known as a principled figure, often speaking openly about internal dynamics. JUNGKOOK, on the other hand, continues to move toward the global solosphere, leveraging his strong visual influence and personal branding. When these two forces move on separate trajectories, it's fair to ask, is this the formation of independent identities, or a sign that the group is no longer fully united in vision? JUNGKOOK's departure to Paris also drew attention from European media, highlighting not only his presence on Calvin Klein's runway, but also the calm aura he projected, seemingly masking great internal pressure. Meanwhile, Jin chose to stay away from camera flashes, sparking speculation that he's crafting a silent strategy that could shake up HYB's artist management direction. There were no emotional statements, no sweet farewells. Instead, Jin's firmness and silence signal that something significant is happening. Some sources claim that Jin had expressed objections to the direction taken by management in recent months, especially regarding the image placement of members in individual projects. In other words, his action is not just a personal move, but a systemic protest wrapped in elegance. JUNGKOOK's seemingly glamorous departure to Paris is now being viewed through a more complex lens by industry observers. Is this a move forced by external pressure or a conscious choice by JUNGKOOK himself? What's clear is that this dynamic poses a dilemma for ARMY and the wider public. Should they celebrate individual success or remain alert to the possibility of subtle fractures occurring behind the scenes? Jin and Jungkook are two crucial pillars in the BTS narrative, and if both are moving in different directions without clarity from the agency, this could lead to long-term consequences that cannot be ignored. Now, what's being anticipated is not only the clothing Jungkook will wear in Paris, but also Jin's next step. Will he release a public statement? Is he preparing an independent project? Or more radically, is he setting up a career repositioning that completely leaves BTS's orbit? What is certain is that the world is watching. And in Jin's silence and Jungkook's glittering move to Paris, the question lingering in everyone's mind remains the same. What is really happening within BTS? Yet behind the commotion of Jin's sudden step and Jungkook's unexpected trip to Paris lies a much bigger question that demands scrutiny. Is the public witnessing an authentic reality of BTS's internal dynamics? Or is this a series of narratives intentionally crafted to shape public opinion and generate media buzz? Some argue that issue. Diversion strategies are commonplace in the Korean entertainment industry, especially when agency pressure mounts. Could it be that Jungkook's decision to appear in Paris is part of a broader scenario to calm the public's growing concern about BTS's post-military career direction? And more importantly, is Jin's seemingly independent action a personal expression, or was it also orchestrated to shape a specific perception? It's worth emphasizing that so far, there's been no direct statement from either Jin or HYB clarifying any connection between Jin's move and Jungkook's departure. In this context, we must ask deeply, should the absence of official information be interpreted as artistic freedom or as a form of narrative control by certain parties? Let's reflect together. How could two central BTS figures, Jin, freshly back from the military, and Jungkook, at the peak of global popularity, take such major steps simultaneously without clear public communication? Is this an internal communication gap or a strategic communication form aimed not at clarifying, but rather at confusing and drawing public attention? This is where we as viewers and fans must begin to ask, does the information we consume truly reflect reality? Or is it just a set of narratives shaped behind social media algorithms and agency marketing strategies? It's undeniable that most widely circulated information comes from alternative media like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, platforms that spread opinions rapidly but don't necessarily verify truths. What guarantees that viral TikTok videos or one-sided YouTube analyses are truly based on verified facts? What can we believe when Twitter becomes a ground for emotional, but not always rational, debate? Aren't we trapped in an information ecosystem more focused on click speed and fleeting attention than on long-term truth-seeking? Further, let's pose the critical questions that should underlie every discussion. Is it possible that this news is merely part of a crafted image-building effort designed to tell a dramatic conflict narrative, keeping audiences emotionally engaged? If so, then who benefits? In a world increasingly driven by engagement metrics and market value, it's not unlikely that every action by public figures has been calculated for maximum results, not in terms of emotional authenticity, but in terms of media impact. Jungkook in Paris for Calvin Klein certainly created a wildly viral moment. But at the same time, are we aware that the spotlight on Jin, who is said to be preparing a shocking move, emerged precisely when Jungkook's brand positioning was peaking? If this is indeed part of a media strategy, the next question is, are we as audiences too easily swayed by visual narratives and dramatic phrasing? Have we lost the ability to differentiate between fact documentation and opinion packaging? And are we brave enough to question narratives that appear touching but may just be the result of professional image manipulation? We reiterate that much of the information we present comes from compiled social media sources and unofficial reports. While we strive to deliver accurate and balanced coverage, it is essential for the public to remain skeptical. Not everything that goes viral contains truth. In a world where perception can be shaped in seconds, verification is the key to maintaining informational integrity. Therefore, We invite readers not only to absorb this news passively, but also to explore what is the motive behind this news? Who benefits from the commotion? Why is this issue surfacing now? And more importantly, does this reflect honest reality, or just one act in a grand stage being performed for the world? We must be honest with ourselves that as fans, we tend to believe the most touching, emotional, or heroic narratives. But reality is not always so sweet. In many cases, narratives that appear honest may have gone through editing and direction processes to appear moving, while in truth hiding a hidden agenda. So, do you still believe that all of this is purely coincidental? Or are you beginning to realize that behind the camera lights and the glitz of the Paris stage,